Right, so tonight we're going to be a little bit informal. I've got a wedding that I'm shooting on the 28th, and right now it's the Monday before, and I'm going through checking everything. So I'm getting all the cameras set up for the ceremony, making sure I've got everything that I need, so that it's a case that I can just put it in the bag, and then when it comes to shooting the ceremony, it's a case of just lifting and shifting. So what we'll do is we'll talk through the bottom up. Each of the 3 cameras you see by here are on light stands, and then that one then is on a tripod, because that one will be the one that I use to float about personally and to switch the camera off the tripod head to the gimbal when I need it. And that's been balanced with everything on it, as you see, ready for the Crane 2. So I can swap and change when I need to, but it allows me the ability to do nice push-in shots and pull out or side to side, because I can use 2 of the legs of the tripod and they keep the motion really steady. So that's been invaluable for things like that. But for the ceremony, the light stands are really fundamental. You will be in a position whereby you have some guests that are above 6 foot. Now, what this means is that you need to get these cameras up high. With a tripod, the higher it goes, the wider the feet. Now, in most venues, you don't have the floor space to accommodate all that. And this is where light stands are perfect for this, because they won't get any bigger, wider than that, but they will reach well above this. So that will go up there. And to give you context, I'm 5'10", and that is touching the ceiling. It won't go any higher, but it'll go up further again, which is fantastic for the ceremony, because it means then that I can get above the crowd and not worry too much about people that are 6 foot tall. The next question you're going to be asking is, well, how on earth are you going to get up there? Well, I got a little step you can get from any convenience store, and it just folds out, and I usually take that with me, and that's been plenty ample to get me up to a height where I can get everything sorted. Now, all of the light stands have a ball head or a little mini tripod head, and these allow me to either level it off or angle the camera in the positions that I need. And then each of the cameras then have different types of lenses, but we have 2 G7s and 2 GH5s. The GH5s are obviously the better camera, and eventually I will replace these or even keep them, because these are fantastic for things like live streaming, but they also produce really, really good 4K image. The only downside is that one, they don't do dual recording, they're limited to the 29 minutes. And the other one is dynamic range. So the GH5 usually have in log about 4 stops above middle grey. These two only have 2, which means you have to then be more mindful when you're exposing. You can't just make a blanket decision and say, with a light meter, which is what I'll be doing, so I'll be using my light meter on the day. This will be able to tell me, so right now in this room we are getting that. So it gives me a base exposure of what I need to set, and because I know the capabilities of all the cameras, I know roughly where to set them, whether or not I need to underexpose these by half a stop, just to make sure the highlights are okay, because one of the things you need to be careful of is the highlights. Not so much with windows, but things like skin and stuff like that. So if someone is standing underneath a spotlight and you've not really exposed it well, these little cameras won't deal with it as well as the GH5s, and that's just going to cause you more headache in post. So that is why I love the GH5s. One, unlimited recording, dual backup, and it handles the dynamic range really well. So then on the cameras, then the 2 G7s, we got a 12 to 60. we've got a 70 to 200, and then on the other GH5, on this one, that one is a 25mm 1.7, and that is a 24 to 70, and that is on a speed booster, because that one and this one are two Canon lenses which was donated to by my father. So he's not well, his eyesight's going, so he's not using them anymore, and he gave them to me because this is taken off. So those are fantastic lenses. I'm really happy, and that'll be the setup. So when it comes to the day, it just means I gotta lift and shift. Now the big issue is that syncing. Now in this confined area, we would normally do like a thumb click to get everything synced up with the sound, but usually in a ceremony everything is quite far apart and you have a lot of people talking, and that can really interfere. So what I tend to do is I've been using free time code, but that workflow has been proven a bit cumbersome. So on the two GH5s I now have tentacle syncs, and on the two G7s I just got the shotgun microphone to try and help with the reference audio. So in part these two will be in perfect sync. I have an Instamic Pro Plus which allows you to connect to the tentacle sync time code, and that will read the time code from that. So that audio device will either be placed on the bride if she allows me to, because some brides aren't comfortable being mic'd up, and then the other will be that I'll put it on the groom, but at least that reference audio will be perfect sync between all three devices, so I've got that covered. It just means a little bit of extra manual work in post to make sure that those line up, and there will be a little bit extra because these are 24 FPS, whereas these are 23.967 or 976. You won't think that makes much of a difference, but you can incur a slight drift, and that is something you need to fix in post as well, but I've gotten that down to a fine art now, and that is it. So what will happen is that there'll be one camera which will be the back and wide that will cover everything, so that in the event something goes wrong I can always cut back to this camera. The 70 to 200 will usually focus on the bride. I might swap that over to the other GH5, I don't know yet. I'm still playing with that idea. And then that will be off to the right, looking left to the bride, and that will get in some of that will get in the groom and the officiant as well, but that'll be a nice shot there. And then we've got the other GH5 there, that'll be off to the left, looking right at the groom, and then I'll be floating then with this one. So during this ceremony I will have it on the gimbal, and then I will then float back and try to get into different positions. I might stay in the aisle and crouch down. Really does depend on where the photographer is, so just got to be mindful of where they need to be, where I need to be. But the whole purpose of these being up high is that should anybody get in the way of the shots, which has happened to other videographers, it hasn't happened to me. The people that I've worked with have been fantastic, but I have heard stories of photographers getting in the way of the shot, and this is the whole reason why we have multiple cameras, is to try and mitigate that as much as we can. And that is it. So if you like this content, please give me the thumbs up. If you got any suggestions or any questions, put them down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.